Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danisko, three-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils. And you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
And that's how you get around licensing agreements when your partner has a band. I like it, Tone.
I will not.
That's a Tony original. And what's the name of the band that's? In case anybody wants to listen to more.
Flesh Reaper.
Flesh Reaper.
Awesome. Flesh Reaper.
What's the name of that song?
Gotta Get Away. Or
Gotta Get Away by Flesh Reaper.
Just to get away.
A Tony original. Very cool, man.
And that's you on vocals, right, Tony?
Yes.
Those are your vocals?
That's you screaming your ass off.
Now, do you play any instruments too, Tony?
I play guitar a little bit. I'm not very great, but I play. I can write a little bit with it, and that's what I have.
A male organ.
I have a drum set too, actually, but that's just
meat whistle.
The meat whistle,
Yeah.
Whistling is a lost art. It really is.
Well,
People
actually,
do not know.
Axl Rose had it down. Axl Rose.
Yeah,
the Bengals. The Bengals. Susanna Hoofs.
You know who does it better than anybody is fucking Andrew Bird. You ever listen to that guy? He's kind of like he's kind of like a folk indie guy, but he manages to whistle in most of his songs. And when you first listen, you're like, "Wow, that's a lot of whistling," but you get to love it. It's pretty good.
His name is Bird. He has to be a good
Andrew
whistler.
Bird, exactly.
My grandfather was an amazing whistler. You
Right.
know? And you think back in the 20s and stuff, like pre-radio and things, like the only music they had was whistling. They would just, everybody was like a rock star. If you were a good whistler, you were like, ooh, I want to hang out with that guy. He's an awesome whistler.
Is this the racist grandfather you're talking about?
No, this was the cool grandfather.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't know if the racist grandfather could whistle.
Yeah, I mean, if so, that'd be the only time he'd say something that's not racist, because he's whistling. You can't whistle racist.
He probably could. He could definitely manage to whistle something that would offend somebody.
Whistle while you hate.
Dixie, I guess.
Yeah, whistle while you hate.
Sure.
Exactly.
We think about it. I think it's kind of funny. Like we talked about, like with Patience, right, from Guns N' Roses. Could you imagine, being in a band myself? I couldn't imagine going to my guys and being like, "Listen, dude, there's going to be this part of the song where I'm going to whistle for like a fucking minute. I'm going to sway." But at this time, I have leather pants on. I'm swaying my hips, so maybe it goes okay. But I mean, I just couldn't imagine telling my dudes that,
Right. I can't whistle. I cannot whistle at all.
I do it poorly.
That's like it for me. It's one note, when that's it. Like to whistle any kind of melody, I cannot do it at all.
Dude, I remember
How
when I was
about
a
you,
kid
Bob?
and I saw someone whistle for the first time. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" I was like, "That's pretty
Really?
wild." Yeah, I couldn't figure it out because it's the whole tongue.
I
thing,
really don't think I remember. Are you sure they were whistling, Tony? They were doing maybe some other uncle was maybe doing something else to you.
I was watching that different
whistling.
I was watching that Different Strokes episode where Wesley and them get let off.
What was the name of Arnold's friend? Dudley. Right?
Yeah.
Arnold and Dudley went to get their bike fixed, and they bit off a little more than they can chew.
That was a rough one. As a kid, that was like, "What the fuck's going on, Mom? What's going on?"
Yeah, that was a disturbing episode.
Yeah.
But we are the Uncle Puckers. We are full force today. It's like the first time in a month that all four of us are here. I'm Chris with Bob, Dan, and Tony. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. We are now part of the Hockey Podcast Network, so you can always find us there, and you can find us anywhere else that you get your podcast for your most in-depth, slightly half, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Messed up, like devil... I don't know what
It's
I'm
off
saying.
the wall, Chris.
It's been a
It's
long
off the
day.
wall. It's off the wall.
It's just,
We're just off
we
the
are
wall.
what we are.
And our band,
So
guy Dan is dying on us too, guys. So you got to.
Oh yeah,
Dan.
Dan.
I might not make it through the show.
So the show might be three guys.
He's got
only
30
coming
minutes
up.
to live. We got to hurry up.
Not doing good. Got the COVID and riding it out, and it's not been fun. I lost all sense of taste. Also, everything sounds like it's coming through in like a harmonica. Like I hear things at different times from each ear. It's very hard to like hear things.
Does that like mess your equilibrium up? I mean, I would think that it would make you dizzy.
I know,
and
right?
shit.
I actually do feel a little dizzy, and I feel a little brain fog, and all that fun stuff you get with COVID.
And how long have you had it now? Like 2-3 days good?
Yeah, I mean, I took the tests yesterday or the day before. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't even know days anymore. It's not good.
Yesterday you took the test.
Yes, and I think I felt like shit for like 2 days prior. But yesterday is when I lost sense of taste. So I said, I think I'll take a COVID test because that doesn't happen with a normal cold.
No. Now, Dan, did you get this in Florida?
Yes, I did.
So I was in Lithuania for a year before I got it. First week back in Florida.
It's like in the water there. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
I thought it doesn't exist in Florida. Right. Thought we established that.
I actually purchased it on the way over, through America on the plane. So, but yeah, we got the Florida.
COVID through customs?
Yeah, COVID through customs. What do they call that when you get the liquor cheaper at the airports in between? I forget that.
Duty free?
Yeah, duty free COVID I had.
There you go, no taxes.
Yeah, but I actually, when we were heading back the year before that, we were heading back from Florida. People started having masks on in the airport. Is when it first started. I was watching the news. I remember being at the gym, being like, "Oh, that's not really going to happen." And then
now we know
2 months later, they were like locking us in our house and like, "You can't go." So it's true. Yeah. Sorry, Dan, that sucks, man. But Florida is the place that I got it, and it makes sense that you got it there.
Yeah. Yep.
Super
I have to say though, I miss lockdown. Lockdown was awesome.
I did like how there was like no cars on the road. That was nice.
Dude, there was a bald eagle in my backyard. I have never seen
back immediately.
a bald eagle anywhere around here, and there was one in the backyard on my tree. Yeah. And I have pictures of it. I was completely floored. I was like, that's a fucking bald eagle. And I haven't seen it since, but I just loved being home all the time. Yeah. I work constantly. I just really enjoyed it. I built a big garden. I did a bunch of, bought a bunch of yard games. We were outside playing ping pong every day. It was just so nice not being at work.
Yeah. Now, were the dispensaries, was the dispensaries legal there during COVID, or was it after COVID?
No, we didn't get that until
the weed?
Yeah.
No, that was the local one around here just opened up like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay, Florida, it was already open. Those places were packed during the lockdowns.
Well, I mean the medical places around here.
Yeah, the medical places.
But but we don't have cards,
And you guys are more like you could just. Now it's just like you just go. Anybody can get it now. It's recreational, like beer, right?
Yeah, yes. Those are essential workers.
Yeah.
It's amazing though. Like you go through something like COVID, and you realize who the actual essential workers are. Like who are the people? The people that get paid the least, who you shit on constantly when you see the guy packing your groceries or driving the trucks. No, they're the ones that keep this country rolling.
Yeah. Well, UPS guys, they just signed like some big contract. I saw them get a lot of news on that, and it's like good because they had to come to work no matter what, and that's not an easy job. And as much as we like hockey, they were able to shut down, and life went on without hockey for that period of time. That was hard, but let's face it, nobody was going to live without packages being delivered.
No. And I mean, we could have lived without the Devils that year too, because it was kind of like, I'm glad it's over.
That was.
I'm glad they're shutting this shit show down.
Shut down last year, that would have really hurt. But the year we did shut 2020, that was okay. Playoffs.
That was Tampa, right? They won the cup that year, right? In the bubble against the Canadians, because they did that weird 1 through 16.
And they referenced it the COVID Cup. Actually, a lot of people they'll mention that cup, the COVID Cup.
Just the creepy cardboard cutouts was probably the worst thing about sports. I did think about getting one. I'll be honest with you, but then I would watch on TV. And I'm like, this is just freaky.
Oh, that's right.
The baseball would hit him in the head. Weird.
You win a prize.
They were like his head off. You look over the stands. There's a cardboard cutout of Bobby and Ryan Graves. They sit next to each other.
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
Bobby's holding popcorn on his lap and Graves' hands in it.
I heard about this trick. It works.
They were hoping that was going to take off, and okay, we could still sell these seats. We just got to sell their cardboard cutouts. That's right.
People fell for it.
I tell you, the first people that I as far as sports or anything like that I thought that did it at least where it looked like there were some people there was WWE. When they brought everything to this small thing in I think they were in Orlando or somewhere in Florida. They called it the Thunderdome, and they had TV monitors where all the chairs are, and then people would log in to watch it live, but you can actually see all their faces, so it did look like, there were people there. Right. Yeah, I mean, they had to pipe in all the crowd noise, but when they did that, and then you had, 5,000 or 6,000 people all watching from their computer screens, it actually looked like you could forget that there was nobody in there. Is what I was trying to say.
Chris, do you remember what the first sport was that let people in? Was it? Well, I want to say it was football for some reason. Where they started opening up the stadiums like 25% or some shit like that.
I think so. I think it was football because I remember the Super Bowl that year was the Rams Super Bowl, right? That was the one Stafford won, and there was only like, I don't know, something like 10,000 people that they allowed in. They were all like mostly essential workers and stuff. Like they gave Super Bowl tickets to like all the grocery workers and stuff like that, which was awesome. But yeah, I think it was football, especially the outdoor arenas and stuff. They were able to have people go in, like you said, 25% or something. But I didn't go to anything during any of that COVID stuff. Like even like I know you went to hockey during COVID, right, Bob? You went to the Rock to see games during.
I was actually up there in February when it was starting, but we weren't sure it was here yet. So I just got a game in with Derek, and then that was the last time I had gone to one until it all cleared up. But as far as once opening day came around and they were letting people in, yeah, I didn't miss that.
No, but did you have to wear a mask?
No, you either had to show your vaccine card or wear a mask.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think
here at the malls you had to. They were like, I remember like actually the convenience stores and stuff. They were only letting like 10 people in at a time. You had to line up at the door here, and they were actually like, we had one of those electronic things on our phones that would tell our results or we had tests or not. And you were only allowed like 10 people at a time in the store. So like everything sucked. Like every time you went to the store, it like took forever because you had to wait for those.
Yeah.
Every time someone came out, it was one of those kind of things where they moved you in, man. It was like they even had drones. There was a couple towns here where they were sending drones to make sure there wasn't like yard parties going on because people were getting really restless here, So,
Yeah.
Now, were the drones armed? So if there were any
now they are.
parties, they would just fucking bomb them.
Now they're armed.
I mean, we did during it. Like, I mean, I would go out once every other day or whatever to do a little shopping and stuff. Some of the stores was a little bit Wild Westish where they just let everybody in. But like, I remember the Target over here, they were very good at like making sure that people were separated. They only allowed certain amounts of people in at a time. Trader Joe's was the same way. They would only let like 10 or 12 people in at a time. I didn't mind it. I mean, it just, it took forever, but if it's going to stop me from getting sick, I was okay with it. And then I think the first thing that we did, we went to a concert up in the city, my wife and I, and that was right when things were toning down, and we had to show our vaccination cards, and still had to wear a mask, though. But they wouldn't even let you in New York without a vaccine card. Yeah. Like, you had to be vaccinated, or else you were not getting into any place in the city. So... And we would do, like, Dan and his wife would come over, and we would sit in the driveway, 30 feet apart, and just bullshit for an hour or so. And, that was our fun time.
Best thing was there was no traffic on the road, so I always loved that,
Yeah, I tell you, all I kept saying to my wife was, we can kill this retirement thing, man. This is awesome. I have no problem not working.
Yeah. And then when I went to Florida from here, I remember we came back, we went to Florida right during this, when it happened was going on, to go see my family, to stay there for a couple months. I have to admit, it felt damn good at first when I got off the plane and no one gave a shit. I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, now, I did get sick a week later. But before that, I was like, wow, we could go places. We don't have to, on the plane, we had to fly like 17 hours with masks on, man. It was fucking brutal.
Yeah. I don't like flying anyway, so I definitely would not be getting in a coffin with wings during COVID, and the worst thing about COVID, like even after everything, I have to say, and being in like the type of business that we're in, we deal with people and stuff. People became complete and total assholes post COVID. Like something happened during COVID where now every person, they feel like they're just entitled assholes. They're not nice. I've noticed that like just the quality of treating people,
especially in
like
the service
human beings,
industry,
has gone downhill. The service industry is the worst.
That's it. They were all very appreciative for about 5 minutes, and then now they're all like little tyrants, and you see them all order around wait staff and things like that.
And me and Chris know firsthand, man. There's nothing more that like, I don't know. I worked in the service industry for many, many years, and you just realize what assholes people are, and it's really like, I think everyone should have to work in the service industry for like at least 2 months. You have to get a taste of it.
It would be nice.
It's some countries you have to do 2 years in the service. In America, you should just have to work in a restaurant for 2 months. That's it, just 2 months.
Yep.
You know?
You'll change your tune awful fast, man. You know.
Yeah, you will.
Awfully fast.
Yeah, you will. So before we get rolling, though, we are coming to you by what the fuck am I trying to say? The Uncle Puckers. Yeah, something like that. You can tell I need to sleep. Brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers, download DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN. Bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in West Virginia, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly. In partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Max bet $50. 10 plus leg required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Again, THPN is your code at DraftKingsSportsbook.com.
Micro Machines!
That's a very wordy read.
Damn, dude, you did good, man. You were like spitting it out.
That's a very good read. I give you a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
The ad up front is not that long, and then everything else that follows is so long.
The ad up front. The ad up front is new customers download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. Bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THPN.
Now that you said
and
that, do you have to say the rest of it again?
I'm not saying the rest of it.
You were spitting that
That's
out,
enough.
dude.
Yeah, they got a bonus. They got a bonus plug.
That's awesome. Okay, well that's fantastic.
Now, Tone, you have your top 5 Devil Fighters list, huh?
Yeah, you know, and it was actually tougher than I thought. And the problem is that there's a lot of lists out there for this. And I tell you, most of them, I can kind of see why they're... We'll go through it, but you can kind of see why they are the way they are. Because the Devils have had... One thing we have had is some tough guys. We've had some tough seasons, but we've had some dudes who could throw down. And even when I was doing this list, I'm like, I'm leaving this guy out. Bobby's going to be pissed I'm leaving this dude out, which, you know, I'm sure we all
Adam
know who
Graves
this
isn't a fighter.
All right, well, that's a whole different story. But
So we're 21.
Yeah, this was a hard one, I thought. But you know, and I never. Anybody who knows me, I don't do them in order. And there's no. This is just 5 dudes that I think fit this.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go.
So you're half-assing it. I see.
I'm half-assing it. I never go with the numbers because
Gotcha.
it's always hard to do that. You know, it's like you're.
Yeah, you don't want to put the extra thought into it. I get it. That's
It's like
cool.
the
We'll talk after
extra
the show.
children. Yeah. Great.
You're in trouble.
Okay, my first one, and I think we're going to agree on a lot of these, but this guy, man, I remember actually the first time I think I saw him was when he was with Albany. It was like 95. The first time I remember this guy fighting, and it was there was a game between Albany and the Cornwall Aces, and we had a goalie that Richard Shamotra, I think his name was. He only played like 1 game for the Devils in his whole career, but in Albany he was fighting Peter Storkowitz, Elias was fighting in this game, and Christoph Oliwa was fighting in this game, and you know Oliwa, I mean. This guy, first of all, anybody that knows him outside of the rink, this guy's pretty much like an intense dude, you know, into the boxing world, you know, just runs a camp, a shredded camp. But his NHL career, he played 410 games, he had 17 goals and 28 assists, which in penalty minutes he was at 1,447. But the thing with this guy was he was throwing down, man. He fought Domi, he was fighting Vipalak, who was like a tough ass son of a bitch. 6'5", you know, goddamn, he was fighting Stu Grimson. I don't know if you guys remember that fight. That was a crazy fight too, the Stu Grimson battle. Jody Shelby, who he fought like, I want to say like 3 times, you know, or 4 times in his career. But Oliwa, you know, he was a presence for the Devils, and I really was a big fan of him. The Polish Hammer, you know, he was drafted by us, 3rd round, 65 overall, you know, 245 pounds. The dude was just a beast, man. I'm sure you guys all agree.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about Oliwa that, like, anybody, if you remember back in 2000, which was his biggest year with the Devils, it was the final game of the season against the Panthers, and he busted his knee or ripped something in his leg. He missed that whole playoff. We go on to win the cup. He played enough games to be able to qualify to have his name on the Stanley Cup, but he missed the entire playoff there. And I don't think he played for the Devils again after that. I think that we traded him the following season to Boston, maybe.
His
I don't
final
remember
season
where
was
he
with
went.
New Jersey, though. I think he only played like one game, right? His last season ever in the NHL, because he retired in 2006, and I think he finished it with the Devils. I could be wrong, but I believe he did. Yeah, I think he played one
maybe
game
that's the
that
case,
season.
but I just remember in 2000, he was a big part of that team, and he had to watch the playoffs from the press box. Had to get surgery, and that sucks.
That's awful. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Oliwa was definitely a fan favorite. He was a tough dude.
He earned that ring. He did so much during the season, so shame he couldn't get to
he
play in
earned
the
it,
playoffs.
no doubt.
I took him on my fantasy all-time Devil team. That's how much.
You did.
That's right. He made my team.
I did actually have a list when I did this too. I do know it was the top. I think it was the top 60 or top 150 fights of all time. Not top fights, but like the guys who fought the most in the NHL during this regular season. And so with Oliwa, he was number 31 on the list with 210 fights, and that's minor. That's minor AHL and NHL, but.
Let me ask you a question, Tone, because you like the fighters. I think maybe not like them more than us, but you definitely are more knowledgeable with that stuff. Who do you think was the best? And we don't have to go back to like the 70s and even the 80s, but let's go from like 95 to pretty much when did fighting cut out? 10 years ago, it started really slowing down. So let's just say like 95 to today. Who do you think was the best fighter? During that time, your personal opinion.
Steve McIntyre was a badass. Another guy.
I don't know Steve.
I was a
McIntyre.
big Probert fan. I was a big Probert fan, but I don't know if Probert was so much of the super fighter. But the Boogeyman, remember Bougard? He was a badass.
He was a professional wrestler.
Yeah,
the Boogeyman.
Yeah, the Boogeyman. But there was some great fighters. McKenzie was a great fighter too. I know Bobby.
McKenzie was.
Yeah,
a good
sure.
fighter.
There was some great fighters, man. I don't know. It's really hard.
Cam Jansen was a hell of a fighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's got to be on your list, right?
He's the next one, actually. The guy had...
All right. Let's talk about Cam.
Cam is, he was number 128 on the list, actually.
And how many people were on the list?
I think it was 150, I want to say. About
150?
150, 200. But it was like...
Who was number one?
It's Ty Domi. Which is funny because he's like
okay.
5'10", he has the most fights, And it's like I said, it's his preseason NHL stats. This is a whole career. But Cam was 128 on that list with 116 fights. Cam Jansen, one thing about this dude is this dude had personality. And he brought such personality to hockey, and he still has personality. I follow Cam. He's fucking funny as shit. The guy was a hell of a fighter. He fought Bassinet, if you remember that. He fought Rupp. Thornton, McGrattan. And McGrattan's a guy right there. Now, there's a guy that would be ranked up in some one of the best fighters, too, I believe. When he was in Nashville, he was badass. Riley Cote. But with Cam Jansen, he was with the Devils for 5 seasons. He was such a personality. And what I loved about him, if you remember, which I'm sure you guys do, we watched a lot of him play. When he got in a fight, even if he was getting a couple socked in the head, he'd wave off that official. Like, get out of here. I'm not done yet. And those fights would drag. And that's what people who fought Cam Jansen would always say. Is that he would just go forever, and he has so much respect amongst the alumni. Whenever I listen to anybody talk about Cam Jansen, whether it's coaches, GMs, players, they always say to him, "We always knew where you were on the ice." Plus he's a metal fan, so he's like the guys.
Fight with a smile, that guy.
Yeah,
I just loved it. He was so entertaining.
He made my Devil list.
Remember the brawl? We all know the brawl, right? The 2012 line brawl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Jansen was a badass, man, and to me, he is someone that when he was 6 foot, he wasn't even the tallest dude. He was fighting guys. He was 6'2", 6'5" was his opponents, and he was hanging in there. And he was that guy just I don't know. He left a big impression on me. He was like a Christoph Oliwa type from when I was growing up, where I was like, this guy is just a badass. And like I said, man, he brought personality and entertainment to the Devils, and that was a fun thing.
Yeah, I purposely didn't put any thought into this list because I really wanted to hear just where you would come from that. But when I knew you were going to do this, the one guy that came to my mind first was Cam Jansen, and for me, he would have been number one.
Yeah,
I
love Cam. Yeah.
Just loved watching him.
Yeah, and like I said, Cam, he was a personality. I mean, you always knew it. I mean, when he would get in a fight, when they would take him off the ice, like there was like a show going on. Like he got into it.
Cam Jansen actually had some skill too.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't just a fighter. A guy like Oliwa wasn't going to give you too much points. I mean, he did score some goals, but Cam Jansen actually had a little bit of a bit of a scoring touch too.
Yeah, he was. His time with the Blues, he was good. I think he played 336 games. And I know, Lou loved him. I mean, I don't know, like we all agree, how do you not like Cam Jansen? I don't know. How do you like hockey and not like Cam Jansen?
I agree. Who's next?
Okay, next we're going to go with, Mike Peluso. Of course, you guys knew he was going to be on my list. And, this was a hard one, like I said, because there is guys that I'll mention after I do this that I really wanted to put on here and I threw back and forth with. But, Peluso, first of all, you got the heart. That's one thing. But he fought Ty Domi. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, he used to battle with Randy McKay. Like, he had, 3 different fights with Randy McKay that I can remember through his career. Buka Boom, the Buka Boom fights,
Wow, Buka Boom. I forgot about him.
When he fought Luke
Defenseman for the Rangers, right?
Yeah.
Now, who was Peluso playing with that he fought McKay? I don't remember this.
I believe it was with Chicago when McKay was with Detroit. So he fought McKay when he was with Chicago and Detroit in '90, and then he fought McKay in '91 when it was Chicago, when Peluso was with Chicago and McKay was with New Jersey. So
Okay.
yeah, they would go at it, man. Those two guys. He was a guy. He put up NHL totals. He was 458 games. 38 goals, 52 assists, 90 points, shitload of penalty minutes, 1,951. He had postseason points. He played in '94. He played 17 games in the playoffs for us. Had a goal. '95 season, 1 goal, 2 assists. But he was a lot of heart too on that ice.
I think that one of the most iconic images of Devil fans back in '95 wasn't just Stevens lifting that first Stanley Cup, but it was, Peluso not even being able to get out there for his last shift because he was just on the bench crying. I think Randy McKay said his ass looked fat in the pants or something. It made him upset, and he was crying.
They had a beef going on.
Yeah, I guess so. And but that's that's iconic. I mean, this dude guy, wore his heart on his sleeve. How do you not love Mike Peluso or
and he's
anybody
number 24
that was on
the
that crash
list too,
line?
by the way. Yeah, he
Okay.
was number 24 on that
He's
list.
up there.
223 fights. 223 fights. You think about that. Now, of course, I don't know. I'm sure you guys know the story of Mike Peluso, which is not a happy one at the end, pretty much, with the Devils and him. There's a lot of, he sued the Devils. He was injured against I guess it was the Nordiques when the Devils were playing the Nordiques. He was sent out there. He got in a fight with Tony Twist. Supposedly he had a concussion before this. He had let them know, and they sent him out there anyway. So it's not a happy. There's a bad thing going on there. Yeah. But Peluso, like you said,
how's his health now? Is Peluso okay
I think there's some issues.
He's fucked up.
Yeah, I think he's. That's the problem. Like I'm not gonna lie. I love the old way, like you mentioned earlier. I grew up like that. We all did. I just love it. Of course, there's that side of me that does know that, sometimes it sucks because some of these dudes are never the same. But
as long as you're entertained, Tone.
But when you fight 223 fights, I mean, shit's gonna happen. Unfortunately, that's a lot of fights, man.
Hold on, did you say he played just shy of 500 games?
Yeah, I believe he was at.
And he had 230 fights. He had a fight every other game.
Every other game.
But this also goes with the AHL. I believe it goes for minors and preseason NHL.
That's a lot of fighting.
That's a lot lot of fighting, dude. How many fights have we been all together?
Wow. But you look at a guy like Christoph Oliwa, you look at a guy like Mike Peluso, if they don't have the fighting aspect of their game, there is no game. They are not in the NHL. They're not even considered. They're
nobody
maybe
we
not
talked
even
about
AHL
is playing in today's NHL.
None of them.
That's not going to happen.
We saw a lot of those guys. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys. I mean, that wouldn't be here now. We even, like we were saying, I think Chris, you were saying 2 episodes ago, there's guys we love who actually the next guy on my list I'm going to go to right now, who might not, who knows now in 2023 if this would be his kind of thing. But, people forget Ken Danico.
Okay.
Oh, right.
When you go for toughness,
he could
I'm
fight.
talking about toughness, and early Danico, right? Besides he was on, I don't know if you guys know, he was on soap operas. I think he was on Days of Our Lives or some shit like that. But Danico, number 67.
Who did he fight on Days of Our Lives?
The whole cast. Yeah, he was actually played a devil on there, which you guys But Danico, he was number 67 on the list. 153 fights, in his career. 6'1", 18th overall, first rounder for us in '82. played 1,283 games. We all know Mr. Devil, but how can you he fought Domi, Kelly Chase.
A lot.
Yeah, Rob Ray.
Fought Domi a lot.
Rob Ray. He tore apart King with the Rangers, Chris King, and I think it was 90. It's just, I don't know how you leave Ken Danico off. It's one of those things. His number's up in the rafters. I mean, he's Mr. Devil. He does our show at the beginning of the intro. How could you leave him off? I mean,
Absolutely.
he just gets points for doing the intro.
Yeah, I agree. And number 1, or number 5, or number 4,
now that I'm
number
going to
3,
read number
Another
1,
number.
now that I'm going to read number 1, this was the hard thing for me, and I thought it would be easier. And I kind of get why most of the lists I read are kind of the same, because it's pretty much like how you have to choose in a way. The 2 honorable mentions is going to be, this was a flip-flop right here. It was Randy McKay. I really wanted to put McKay in there. Guy, number 26 on the list with 220 fights. Isn't that crazy? Wow. I mean,
McKay was a great fighter.
Yeah. And the next guy I left off too, Bobby, which I totally was McKenzie. He was number 27 on the list with 214 fights. So the guy
Jim McKenzie didn't make your list.
No, and the reason why is this, because at the end of the day, and I wanted to leave. I love Scott Stevens. I mean, he's the changing of our organization, a big change. Yep. But I wanted to leave him off and away from McKay, but I couldn't do it. When we got him in '91 off arbitration, when they offered us Cujo and Brendan Moore and 2 picks, and we wouldn't do it, we changed the organization when we got Scott Stevens. Scott Stevens, and don't be misled, he's number 65 on the list with 154 fights. And the guy's physical, just knock you on your ass, fuck around to find out, ice play, changed the game. You had the hits on Paul Correa, Lindros, when he cussed Kozlov in '95 in the playoffs. The dude,
yes,
Bob Bassin, when he whacked Bob Bassin back in the day.
He's a special kind of fighter, because not all fighters can deliver hits like that.
Yeah,
some of the fighters were barely on their skates, and they're just going to go out there, find you, and show down for a fight, like Stu Grimson and stuff. They were lucky if they could ever line, but Stevens was a master at lining people up for hits. And if the guy got up wanted to fight, of course he would.
And he was a tough. I mean, he fought Bob Probert. He would fight. Like I said, Bob Probert was a beast. Rick Tocchet, the guy would fight. I mean, and Domi, obviously Domi made some remarks about him, which is total bullshit. But I will say, man, how do I leave Scott Stevens off 3 cups? I mean, and he really did, just his physical, not even fighting with Scott Stevens, just his smash you, knock you ass on the ice, just changed the game.
And the only guy on this list that I believe would have been dominant in today's NHL.
Yes.
I mean,
that's an excellent point.
Do you remember when Domi hit? Was it Domi hit Niedermeyer, right? And do you remember, Stevens?
It's Niedermeyer, not Niedermeyer.
Stevens,
Niedermeyer is Animal House.
Stevens just went at. I mean, Stevens, there was the Kozlov hit when he told the bench, "You're next." I don't know if you guys.
That's what I was just going to say. There's another iconic moment. So that wasn't a fight. That was a hit.
Yeah.
Look at my face. You're next. That's just epic.
Most guys now they'd be checking on the other guy, and be like, "I'm sorry, I'm going to get fined for this." But Stevens was like, "Okay, who's next? Bring it on." I mean, so how do you leave him off? I did with McKay. With McKay, it was kind of hard in a way. I was like, But at the end of the day, I mean, I think he was my first round draft pick on our draft, I believe. How do you not? He's an organization changer. So I mean, how do I not pick him?
Yeah, sure. I mean, all the history of the Devils, it does start all with Scott Stevens. No disagreement to that. That's a good list, Tone.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tougher than I thought. So, right? I mean,
and it is tough. It is tough because there were a lot of guys, that were throwing down a lot back then, and you had to have a guy or 2 on your team that could fight.
Anytime you're gonna have a couple honorable mentions, it just shows how hard it is to dial down to the 5.
Yeah,
you can go either way depending on how you're looking at it. Well, put him on next time, jerk off.
Yeah, McKay it was tough with McKay because watching McKay play, that guy was just fucking grit. He was just such a gritty player, and I don't know.
Yeah, McKay's awesome. You know what made your list even better, Tone?
What's that?
Was listening to them in my brand new Raycon wireless earbuds.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm telling you, these are such good earbuds. I'm telling you, they're the best earbuds that you can find. They have a 32-hour battery life, 8 hours of playtime, so you can listen what you want, when you want, for a really long time. 3 customizable sound profiles that you can click, just boom, boom, boom. It changes the profile. They come in custom gel tips because nobody likes them falling out of your ears, right? Exactly.
Yep.
You're on the treadmill, you're running, you're sweaty, and then your earbuds start flopping out of your ear. And it doesn't happen. Not with the Raycon. Then they're just almost half the price of other premium audio earbud brands. And the sound, just as good, if not better, and they come with a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you can't lose. Create your own soundtrack this summer with Raycon. Right now, Uncle Pucker listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/THPN. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to save 15% on your Raycon wireless earbuds. buyraycon.com/THPN.
And they even match your bathroom, Chris.
What about Devil You Know, Bob? You got one of those tonight?
I don't know. You guys want to play a game?
I would love to play a game.
Oh, shall we?
Shall we play a game?
Buckle up, boys and girls. It is time for the Devil You Know on the Uncle Pucker New Jersey Devil Podcast.
It's
been a while.
I miss that so much. Oh, it's great. All right, so this is the Devil You Know, where me, Dan, and Tony tonight are going to try and guess a former devil. Bobby's going to give us clues of a former devil. We are going to try and guess it. We can scream, yell out, or probably not yell out, but give 3 incorrect answers before we're eliminated. We can ask Bobby any question that we want, and he can or cannot answer. It is completely up to him. And that's basically the rules. Just going to give a shout out to the guys on the Purple Daily Minnesota Viking podcast, because I completely, stole this bit from them. So thank you. And we'll go from there. You did your Howard.
That was great.
I invented the Devil You Know. All right. Bobby, you're up.
All right, I think we got a good one here, and I'm just going to say up front, if somebody gets this one early, like within the first few, then you're anointed super fan and you win, because to
Bobby
me,
went deep on this one.
this would be pretty hard.
It sounds like it.
Right, great.
Hard, Tony.
Right.
All right, here we go. This Canadian-born former devil stands at nearly 6 feet and 185 pounds. His professional playing career lasted 7 years. He had 59 goals, 66 assists for 125 points.
And he's no longer playing?
Correct.
Okay.
Good one, Chris. Good.
His debut year, he played...
Is he still Canadian, though?
5... I don't know. He might have got dual citizenship. I don't know.
Okay.
His debut year, he played in 5 games, and he got 1 goal and 1 assist.
Mm-hmm.
He played 2 total seasons with the Devils. 38 games, scored 6 goals and 4 assists for 10 points.
Huh.
He was actually a first-round draft pick.
Wow.
Oh.
First
The
round.
year before the draft, he scored 34 goals and 50 assists for a total of 84 points in 65 games with the Medicine Hat Tigers of the WHL.
What year was he drafted? Did you tell us that already?
I did
No,
not.
he didn't.
Okay.
Are you gonna?
No, I will not.
How many teams did he play for?
I will get to that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see here. In fact, the playoffs the year before, he had 5 goals and 10 assists for 15 points in just 14 games. So,
This is a WHL playoff?
WHL playoffs. So he had
Okay.
scoring pedigree. He did not win the Stanley Cup with the Devils. He did not win a Stanley Cup.
And he is no longer playing.
100% no longer playing.
Okay.
Is he alive?
Zaka.
How many games did he wind up playing, you said, in his career? Was it 200 and something?
Okay, hold on. So
I know 2 years with the Devils.
I will clarify that as we go. I mentioned his playing career was 7 years and 59 games, or 59 goals and 66 assists for 125 points. He played 2 years with the Devils, 38 games.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
38 games. Got it.
Okay. Not only did he play just 2 years with the Devils, but that was his entire NHL career.
Oh, wow.
38 games
Really?
over 2 years is his entire career.
So when you said he had a 7-year career, only 2 years was with the
I
NHL.
said he had a 7-year professional career, and the minor leagues are considered professional.
So this guy played only 30-something professional games. In the NHL.
38 games, all with the Devils.
He must have got hurt.
To give you a frame of reference, he retired after the 89-90 season from professional hockey. So at that point, he's again in the minor leagues again, I'm sure.
He's
You
back
really
in the
going
old
back.
days.
No.
You're
Now
going
here's
back.
where a couple of you historians, this is where it should come a little better. All right. Any questions first? Any guesses?
No, I don't have any guesses. I could ask if he was. I'm guessing the guy was a forward, but he has numbers like a defenseman. So I don't know.
And you haven't said
Would
what
you like
year
to
he
ask me if
drafted
he's a
either,
forward
right?
or a defenseman?
Is he a forward or a defenseman?
He is a forward, but I did
Okay.
set this up because I wanted you to think he was a defenseman.
Yeah, I did.
Right. I wanted to get to this point here. I don't know if this is going to give it away. First, he was the first Devil to be awarded a penalty shot and to score for the Devils in 1984. And to reference the play, the Great One, the reason he got the penalty shot is because the Great One threw his stick at the puck.
1984. Holy
So
shit!
you went.
That's when he was still in against Edmonton, I guess.
See, this is and I gotta say, what year did he retire? Because I always didn't think we went past 95 for some reason. This is a tough one. I thought we were
I
kinda
have not
sitting around
gone past
94.
where I started watching Devil hockey, but I'm
Now,
allowed
this
to.
This is deep.
Yeah.
This
Did he
is deep.
score?
Now,
Did he score in that penalty shot? Did you say?
Yes.
Okay.
First
First
awarded
round
and first
overall,
penalty
that's
shot
nice.
score.
Is this person like part of like I don't want to say devil lore, but like people that know the team or familiar with the team? Is he a name that people recognize?
I consider myself a very big fan. I did not know this person existed.
Okay, go ahead.
had no
We might get to a
significance to the
point where you have to
team
give us initials, but
Yeah,
I mean,
no, here we go.
Can I buy a vowel?
Now I'm thinking
Exactly.
Tony just hit on something before that made me go white. So let's just see here. He was drafted in the same draft, but ahead of Ken Danico in 1982. Therefore, he is the first Devils pick ever.
Oh, Rocky Trottier. He was a total flop.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who?
He tried to.
Holy Jesus Christ.
Total flop.
How do you
Total
get
flop. He is actually.
That just popped out of his mouth.
I know.
Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Just stop talking for 1 sec, just real quick. What was his name?
Rocky Trottier.
Rocky Trottier?
Trottier.
Yes.
He's got a very
Like
famous
Brian Trottier?
brother.
That-
That
that's
won
his brother?
4 Cups on
Yeah.
the island.
Biggest draft
I
for the
did
Devils.
not know. I don't know, Dan. Did you know
No.
this person existed?
No, that's
did
what
not- I
made
told you.
I knew none of us were gonna get this, and then I totally forgot that Tony has some kind of weird.
I watched the
He
Devils
knows
in the 80s.
every single. Yeah, but you remember
I know.
everything. Like this is.
Well,
like, you
It
remember
had
his name.
Tony
Can I tell
winning
you
all
guys?
over this.
Can I tell you
Yeah,
guys?
you totally set this up for Tony.
No,
I never
no
mentioned,
doubt.
but let me fix this for you guys. I told Chris earlier, I think I told all you guys, I want to talk about a draft thing, right? And the thing I was going to talk to you about related to Rocky Trottier, because the
That's
thing was
funny.
is they had picked the worst draft pick by the Devils ever. It was the worst draft pick that any NHL team made, which I didn't actually agree with because they had picked Pavel Zacha for the Devils, and I actually thought that, what's his name, Matteau was the worst draft pick a few
So
years
here's the
before
thing.
that. But the
What Tony's
worst was
saying-
Rocky Trottier.
What Tony's saying is that if we were able to all come together and get this in before he started coming across this, maybe he doesn't get this at this point.
No, I know Rocky Trottier because he is the worst draft pick that they had. And he only played, like you said, he was
Yes.
very limited in his play.
Yeah, that
I
was
had,
what-
I had no idea. So
Yeah,
just
I
to
didn't know him either.
just to sum up, I only
amazing.
had 2 more, and the next one was what I mentioned, that he has a very famous older brother who won 4 Cups on the island and 2 more with the Pens, and then I believe some in his coaching career too, and that he shares the first name of a fictitious Philadelphia boxer from the movies.
Okay, that I might have got it if I got those last 2 clues.
the last 2
really
clues
hard.
we might have been able to
Yeah.
put together.
Well, Rain
like,
Man,
I
Rocky,
know him as a guy.
Rocky
I really-
Bossy, you know.
Yeah, right.
Right?
All right, boys, that ought to do it. For Chris, Bobby, and Tony, I'm Dan, and we are the Uncle Puckers. See you next time. Puckers out.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!